Afternoon and welcome to DTG's TV Transformer Showcase Day 2. I'm Alex Buchan and this is our hunt to discover the next TV Transformers. Day 1 yesterday was a great day. We had 4 fantastic presentations looking at topics I'm sure you can all relate with, such as how to search through content across multiple providers, aggregate content, and how to keep content applications up to date across the thousands of devices we're all using today, as well as how to enhance user experiences, such as kind of watching content collaboratively with your friends and family, or merging the in-home user experience with in-Stadia user experiences. So we've got 4 more presentations today, and then we'll be picking a winner of our TV Transformer Showcase out of the 8 presentations from yesterday and today. The winner will receive 12 months of DTG member benefits, as well as a booth excuse me, at our DTG Summit, which will be worth £1,000. And you'll hear more about the DTG Summit today as well. And we'll have 2 runners up as well, which will also receive 12 months of DTG member benefits. With the task of picking our winners, we've got 4 expert judges. Judges, if you just want to introduce yourselves. Charles.
So hi, I'm Charles Dawes from Xperi, and I run international marketing across our brands DTS, IMAX Enhanced and TiVo. At Xperi, we enable extraordinary experiences, making entertainment more entertaining and smart devices smarter. I'm looking forward to hearing today's pitches, and again, I'm on the lookout for solutions that are going to take the customer experience to the next level.
Thank you, Charles. And then we've got Kat.
Good afternoon. I'm the Development Director for SimpleStream. SimpleStream is a leading provider of live and on-demand streaming software and applications which we license to broadcasters and operators and brands so that they can offer their own direct-to-consumer services. And we're always looking for new innovations and collaborators in this exciting space.
Great, thank you, Kat. And then we've got Xavier.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. My name is Xavier Grégoire. I'm the AVP Sales for Fastly. At Fastly, our powerful Edge Cloud platform empowers developers to innovate and to run, secure, and deliver websites and applications as close to the users as possible to create unforgettable experiences at global scale. I am so excited to listen to our 4 new innovators today. Yesterday was amazing in terms of challenging the status quo and offering new user experiences. I'm sure today we will hear a lot of interesting ideas again. So, yeah, can't wait.
Thank you, Xavier. Perfect. And then we got Yvonne.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yvonne Thomas, strategic technologist at the DTG. And I'm very much looking forward to hear 4 more pitches today. They've been brilliant yesterday. So as I'm also looking into new ways of delivering content and the user experience side, I think that's perfect fit, and I hope to get some ideas from my own work as well.
Thank you, Yvonne. So thanks to our judges there as well. So as you heard, the judges are going to be selecting the winner, but combining the judges' scores with some input from yourselves in the audience. So we've allocated you all £1,000 of virtual money, and we would like you to back your favourite presentation, and we'll combine the results from those that poll with the judges' scores to pick the winners. And we did the same yesterday to make it fair. So at the end of all the presentations, you'll see a poll that will come up on the screen, and then you can pick your favourite. There'll also be chances for Q&A at the end of each presentation. If you do have a question you want to ask, you can use the Q&A box on the platform here. Type in your question and your name and everything, and then I will read that out in between the presentations. So that's everything to get started with. So without further ado, we'll go to the first presentation, and that is Jonathan Marshall from TVA. Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for the introduction and the opportunity to present our service to the panel and the rest of the audience. As Alex said, my name is Jonathan Marshall. Let me go to the first slide. I am the founder and director of TVA, and we're here to talk about our service, TV Panel. This is an innovative system that we designed to create a better viewing experience for UK TV viewers by helping broadcasters to measure the performance of their content live and in real time. Before I get into how it all works and the innovative features, first let me take you back in time to the early 80s. Now, the world was a very different place then. There were no mobile phones, there was no more World Wide Web, and no real social networks as we know them today. And most importantly, a single media surface that united the country every evening, the television. There were only 3 channels as well. We had BBC, ITV, and BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. And that's why people often commonly refer to that time as seeing what was on the other side, because there often were only a couple of choices. And that, coupled with the fact that less than 10% of the whole households owned a video recorder, meant there was no time shifting. So virtually all viewing was linear and live. So back then, TV measurement in the UK was a reality through expert researchers Barb by using a panel of selected households. However, if we fast forward to today, the world is a very different place. The audience landscape has changed dramatically. Consumption habits have evolved, and we're now living in a world of true connectivity, often with multiple devices used in conjunction with each other. However, linear TV is still the main source for live viewed content in UK homes. But sadly, the way that we measure TV hasn't really kept up, and we've seen 2 main challenges that emerge that affect this. The first is the change in what advertisers and marketeers demand. They've got used to receiving live audience measurements from their social media platforms and online video players, giving them granular viewing data in real time. And these are services like YouTube or public broadcaster VOD services like ITV Player and so on. The second challenge is that audiences and channels have become more focused. Viewers are now seeking more niche content that supports their interests. And thanks to the success of digital TV in the UK, there are now many more channels to support these interests. But these channels don't necessarily attract the level of audiences that would appear in the traditional TV viewership collection models using panels. In effect, there are now more channels competing for the same number of eyeballs. And that's where we saw the opportunity to create something new. We wanted to create a way for all channels to get a service that was more like social media measurement, a service that took advantage of modern cloud processing, and a service that helped audiences get better content in real time. So what is TV Panel? Well, as I said, we created it to help channels and producers better understand live viewing on their channels and on their programs. And this creates a better viewing experience for the actual audiences. Our TV Panel has 2 main elements to it. First, we have the traditional overnight reports. These are delivered early every day, and they automatically match anonymous viewing data to programs and channel as-run information as per the schedule. This can also include advertiser slot viewing and potentially product information in the case of shopping channels. And the example on the left of your screen shows an example report which shows a graph of the last 24 hours of viewing, along with the standard metrics for measurement: average viewers for the day, 1-minute reach, 3-minute reach. We've also introduced a new metric that cannot be retrieved from traditional panel mechanisms called Tva Reach that is available through our unique system. This counts the number of viewers that have seen the channel in a day but didn't stay as long as a minute. If we think about shops like shops on a high street, think about channels like shops on a high street, the Tva Reach is the passing trade that your channel could attract, i.e. they have been looked through the window but they may not have decided to come in. On the right-hand side, over the nightly reports, we can provide live performance dashboards on mobile and web-based devices. And this reports back in real time to our customers. And I'd like to give you a closer look at some of these innovations. So this is our live viewing dashboard, which gives up-to-the-second measurement of channels' performance. I'll take you on a quick tour. The main red graph that you see in the center is the live viewing for the last 24 hours. And in this example, it is superimposed over the same time period for last week. This gives channel owners and broadcasters a very clear idea of how their channel is performing week on week, particularly when there are any changes, and to spot trends. In addition, at the top of the screen, you can see the real-time figures for the 1-minute and 3-minute reach, as well as the total TVA reach, i.e. the footfall for the last 24 hours. Our customers also use this dashboard in their galleries to help the directors get new insights into how live production and programming is performing. this gives them the opportunity to see the impact immediately of different packages or even guests on a live show. And that's what makes TV Panel unique. It really gives you the insights that TV producers, directors, commissioners, and channel controllers have never had before in real time, giving them the ability to shift editorial, to cut short a guest, or to charge up the content, making sure the audiences get the content they love, the main vision behind TV Panel. But because we're built on top of cloud technologies, we can go further. We are able to take advantage of the huge processing power to generate custom insight data in seconds. This gives our program makers and customers the ability to immediately compare the performance of their programs, episodes, adverts, or any slots across any time frame, putting the power of audience research departments into the hands of anyone. In the example above, we're seeing the same time slot, an hour time slot, spread across a different day across 2 weeks. So we can see how that same slot fared each day. And I've intentionally picked a turbulent week. This was Christmas last year, where you notice the big dip in the middle is Christmas Day. For completeness, the purple line is 1 minute reach and the blue line is 3 minute reach. And it's not just advertisers that can benefit from this type of data. We've been working with shopping channels to provide them with product reports, integrating with their existing systems to generate performance metrics on their products, allowing them to understand the conversion rate from product views to actual purchases. We've also integrated social media into our TV Panel system, and that enables broadcasters and channels to measure the viewing figures for the same content on both broadcast TV and online sources. Live TV and online content have very different lifespans, and we can represent this in our weekly reports by aggregating the number of views on these social networks as well as the traditional broadcast TV viewership. And more recently, we've gone further. We've allowed channels and brands to survey their audience to capture real-time audience appreciation metrics. In the example on your screen, we're actually asking the audience what they think of the program they're watching right then. And the program makers themselves can now change their output based on this viewer feedback. This enables audiences to truly have their say and to help influence the type of programs that they love to watch. So we believe it's time for TV to change the way that it measures audiences, and it's time for faster insights, and it's time for giving control to the viewers. Thank you very much, and I'm free to take a few questions.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks very much for that pitch. Have we got any questions from the judges, first of all?
Yeah, Alex, I would have one from me.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Jonathan, thank you very much for your pitch. I think that's really interesting. I'm just curious, could you give us a little bit more detail of how the data in the report actually differ from what we know today and what we're getting actually today? So what's the real insight, and what kind of benefits will the content provider actually have, and which kind of features maybe will it enable, or which kind of services will it enable?
All right, so I'll talk about the services later, but the insights of the additional value we give is the niche content was never actually able to be get accurate audience metrics because of the limitations of some of the traditional audience viewing metric systems that are panel-based. When you only have a limited number of panels in the country, each individual house, each individual panel member may equate to almost 5,000 eyeballs or views, households in that respect. That may be less than the number of viewers for some of these niche channels. So our product was born out of the need for some of the smaller channels, and I'm thinking of maybe local TV or niche content channels to be able to understand their audience in real time. In terms of the second part of your question, we are working with our channel owners to understand how they want that metrics to help them make insights. For example, to be able to choose when to change a program, whether it's a live bit of content or whether it's a scheduling issue, or as I said before, within a shopping channel, when to best promote certain products, because they can understand the best conversion rate from the number of viewers to the number of actual purchases. I hope that answers both parts of your question, Yvonne.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you for that. Next, we've got Charles with the question.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering, can you give us a bit more detail on the kind of technical requirements that are needed to collect the data? Is it a client that has to be downloaded into the software of the TV or the set-top box? Is it something an operator has to do, or how are you actually building up this set of users that's different to a traditional panel?
Charles, so yeah, we work in conjunction with the channel owners themselves, and we insert a small amount of data in the broadcast channel. So it sits on top of a UK TV Freeview standards by broadcasting data over the air to the TV device, which can anonymously gather data on that operator's channel with their permission. We collate this data anonymously, and we use it in a way to work out the number of viewers and the reach figures that you saw before. And this sits on standard UK televisions. Obviously, they need to be plugged into work, but what we are finding is a huge number of devices are connected from the beginning, and that gives us a far larger panel that we can work with than some of the traditional viewing metrics that are used.
So if I understand that right, it's almost like it's an app per channel of the channels that are within your system that runs in the background, delivered over the air.
Absolutely. So without getting too much into detail, we run in the middleware the set-top box, which is standard across all boxes. We actually only have one app, which is shared across all channels in a multiplex.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Charles.
No problem.
So, sorry, Jonathan. Thought you'd answer that one. Right, we've got one more question from the judges with Xavier, and then we've got a question from the attendees as well. Remember, if you're viewing this in the attendees, you can ask questions in the Q&A panel. So, Xavier, we'll go to your question next.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan, for this presentation. I think the real-time element is really exciting, and I was wondering if you were planning to or if there was any use in linking your technology with the programmatic advertising solutions to really leverage on the real-time data. I was curious about that.
Xavier, would this be working with the advertisers themselves so they can understand in real time what's being done and to modify the content? So yes, well, it won't surprise you to know that we've been having conversations with both ad agencies and the channel operators themselves. We see ourselves in the role of providing information to them so they can try to gain insights from what they want. Because of the size of our panel, we have very good granular data for not just whether somebody's in an ad break, but actually which ad they're in and actually which second of the ad they're actually watching at any one time. So this doesn't just give you an eyeball count for who's actually watching an ad. It actually says how far through the ad did people drop off, or did they stay the whole way through? So you can actually measure retention within the ad slots themselves. And yes, we're keen to have more conversations with advertisers and understand how they can use that information to help improve the advertising experience. I'll just come back to what I said at the very beginning. We wanted to start this by trying to make TV better for the viewer, by giving more information back to the broadcasters and the advertisers and the content owners themselves so that they can tailor the content to make it as good as it can be.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Thanks for that question.
Thanks, Jonathan. Right, we've got one from the audience. So this is Nigel Prancard from Panasonic. And he's asked, how do you encourage the end user involved in being a measurement provider and providing the augmented feedback?
Most of the data we use is anonymous. It's actually up to the channel owner whether they want to ask the viewer for additional information. I showed the example of a survey coming up on the screen. That would be the channel owner's desire to want to gain that extra information. And everything we do is not just under strict European privacy rules to make sure we're not collecting any personal or any information that can be identifiable. So to answer your question, Nigel, yes, we'll work with the manufacturer to help them understand when they need to give any guidance to the viewer of what information is being collected. But because the majority of information is entirely collected anonymously, there doesn't need to be that information given.
Okay, so that's answered your question, Nigel. So with the surveys and stuff then, I mean, is there only a certain kind of cohort of the viewers that get that survey, or does it go to everyone, or how does that work?
Yes, Alex. So it's completely configurable. So the tests or the services we've run so far went out to everybody, and again they opted in to say, we put a screen up first to say, do you want to answer questions? Because we recognise the fact that viewers don't want their screen taken over while they're watching content. So we put an informative information up saying what we're going to ask them and what information we'll keep and how we store that information. And if they're willing to go ahead, they can answer the survey. Again, the survey itself, we showed an example of just voting between numbers 1 to 4, but it could be yes, no answers. It could be typing in a number. There's a whole bunch of different metrics that our customers could choose to ask the viewers in real time.
Okay, understood. Thanks very much, Jonathan. Okay, I don't think we've got any more questions anymore from the judges. If not, we've got no more questions from the audience either. So thank you very much, Jonathan. That was a really interesting pitch. And we'll move on to the next one then. So next up, we've got Tim Edwards, who is CEO and co-founder of Codiex. Tim, over to you.
Codices, but close.
Codices, sorry, Codices.
That's all right. Cool. Let me kick off on the right slide. There we go. Okay, cool. So, so my name's Tim. So I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Codices. And what we're doing is we're building the platform for live interactive video. Now, what we mean by that is if you think of a traditional game show where you have contestants on there and playing along, we make interactive shows where you can have all the millions of people at home all playing along and interacting in real time. Now, rather than sort of over-explain exactly how we do it, I want to show you a quick video of a recent show we did with Amazon Prime and the Premier League. And it's a head-to-head quiz where we have one streamer and his audience on Twitch versus another streamer and their audience. So I'll just go ahead and play that now.
Well, Pieface, good luck.
Yes.
Don't take the loss too hard.
Chat, we must beat Bateson.
You can tell by his voice, we just want to beat him.
Here we go, boys. First question.
Which was the first Premier League side to defeat Bayern Munich at their home stadium in Germany?
I'm going to go with the chat and go Man United, as that was my initial thought.
Right, I'm going Norwich. I'm going Norwich.
Wait, Bateson said Norwich?
Yes! Come on! 2 points clear. 10% of you lot voted. 10%, and I didn't go with you.
Oh, well, fair play. He done bloody well there, then. I didn't know that.
Let's do it. Ready for the next question, guys?
Question 10. Which team's fans have to travel the furthest to see all of their team's away matches this season?
I would say it would either be Bournemouth or Newcastle.
I'm overruling and going to Bournemouth.
Oh, no, he's answered Bournemouth.
We have to gamble or we're going to lose. We've got no choice.
Please be Newcastle. Yes! We've beaten Pieface. Get in. Champions. You guys are the champions.
It was the obvious answer.
I enjoyed it. That's one of the best things I've done on Twitch, to be honest. But massive thanks again for Amazon Prime Video for sponsoring the stream. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did.
I thought that was really fun. GG Bates. I look forward to the next one.
Cool. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of sort of the kind of shows we do. So for our product, we see sort of two main problems with it. The first is that one thing is when we talk about broadcasters, we mean anyone at home, either with a webcam or a camera on their phone that can film and produce. Because nowadays you've got people streaming to Twitch, to YouTube. And the challenge is, if you look at live interactive shows like this, where you have all the audience playing along, there's currently no tools available for people to really easily monetize and to manage and make these shows. On the flip side, video games and esports, you probably don't regularly watch a live streaming service at the moment. And there isn't really a place for live streaming interactive video content to sit where it isn't based really around video games. Now, at the moment, the fastest growing area in live streaming online is non-video game content. And if you look at shows like Big Brother, Love Island, and they've always sort of had an X factor. They've always had this sort of voting element to them, but none of them have really updated and pushed it into real-time interaction, which is what we're trying to enable everyone to do with our platform. Now, what we're building is the destination for live interactive video. It's going to be focused on mobile first and have really simple to creation tools. So even if you're super techie or never use a computer at all, you're able to decide how a show and people will interact with it. In terms of monetization, it allows people to purchase interactions, so things like shout-outs, pop-ups, and different kind of emotes to show up, and that revenue is then split between us and the broadcaster. This model has already proven really well working in Asia, and also the largest live stream platform in the West, Twitch, run their digital currency, but they just did over $1 billion. So it's really trying to move things away from advertising to actually giving proper, good content for people's money, which actually adds an extra layer onto the service. And in terms of content, we're looking for everything from people producing very high quality game shows, for companies and production studios like Endemol Shine, where they might run something for half an hour, all the way to like long form TV. So one example we use is if you imagine you get in an Uber, you open up your phone and you open up a stream and there's a basket of kittens playing along, and you then send $5 to make a ball of knitting wool fall down and they start playing with it. Everything from really weird interactive TV experiments all the way to really traditional formats. So in terms of what we've done to date, so we've built the most used live interactive game show creation tool on Twitch. We currently have just over 5,000 monthly active broadcasters and about 1.3 million players a month. We also work with loads of brands. I showed Prime Video before. We also work with Jagex, Bandai Namco, and some of the biggest game publishers, mostly because a lot of the stuff we do on Twitch now is the reason we're working a lot with game studios. Recently, we just did our largest live interactive show to date with Warframe, which is a game run by Digital Extremes, where we ran a 300,000 player quiz and gave away just over 165,000 prizes, which, when people run these quizzes and things, I think you really see the demand from the consumer side, but also from the broadcaster and the creator side to wanting to give people experiences they can all take part together. In terms of the team, so my background is I started out as a software engineer and then moved into video game production. I used to run a live streaming service for a live streaming stream for a website called Game Debate, where we used to run a weekly games news show to about 20,000 concurrent viewers. My co-founder was previously a senior data engineer at Amazon, and he's worked at Fandango and a number of other Facebook gaming startups building out systems that support millions of players. And also, our head of content is was previously the showrunner for the largest interactive game show, HQ Trivia, which was, I think they peaked at around 2.2 million players. Thanks a lot for listening to my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions on what I went through. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tim. Great pitch. And we've got a question from Yvonne first off in the judges.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Very cool presentation. I think that's very different from what we heard in the last 5 pitches. Very quick question, because I was wondering from your experience, have you looked into other genres and what's actually your main demographic target? I mean, is your kind of audience mainly the younger people, or do you have even experience that the older generation thinks that's really cool platform?
Yeah, I think the one thing is when you look at, when anyone's watching a game show, the one thing you really want to do is be able to play along. So we do see this kind of content sort of stretching across all age demographics. For the platform we're launching, we're really aiming primarily at sort of the top end of Gen Z and then potentially millennials, probably as our target market. But the good thing about building out a platform service is that we don't necessarily have to limit it to any demographic, and we can have different contents for each audience, which is something we're really sort of keen on. And when we're looking at shows now, we're very much looking at how those shows can talk to a specific audience rather than trying to sort of aim the platform at one. In terms of genres, yeah, it's really interesting. One thing we're really cool about giving the people the tools is that we think we can come up with some cool ideas. But once you say give thousands of people all the same tools to build out interactive shows, if you've got something like a branching narrative, which is just like a poll coming up every time, to then once people can sort of decide what to do with it, we think that's where sort of the true innovation and scale will come from it. So yeah, it's really for us. We've got our ideas. Live interactive shows are still really new to start with. I don't think if we built a platform of like game shows, it probably would do particularly well because there's just so much wide scope for it. But yeah, we're definitely interested in like lots of different genres moving forward. And for us, it's just about giving people the ability to be able to make them.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. And next, we've got a question from Charles.
Hi, Tim. Really good presentation. I had a quick question. Obviously, in your example there, you've got two presenters interacting with each other. Is there the possibility for them to pull in other people to talk to them and involve them in the kind of interactive show as they go along? Or are all the viewers just interacting in like a text basis?
No, you're 100% right. So that is one of the things we are currently building out now, is the ability to pull on an audience member. There's been shows that have sort of done it recently in the past. Mostly they sort of had to vet them. There's a bit of a risk always when you're going to bring people on right away from their webcam from anywhere. So there's definitely going to be a slight balance of making sure things are moderated well, while also keeping it free and giving people that opportunity. But yeah, for us, if you're going to do, say, like a tell a joke competition and you want to have thousands of people submit and be able to come on and tell something, we really want to push people into the spotlight as well, to be able to come on and interact with streamers, as well as just sort of being passively and voting. But yeah, no, that's something we've spoken a lot about over the last sort of few weeks, and something we're currently integrating now.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And next got Xavier.
Yeah, thanks, team. I mean, I love the energy and love the concept. I was wondering maybe if you could elaborate a little bit on the monetization model behind your services would be great.
No, definitely. So traditionally, with some of the brands and shows, we've sort of done it. We typically license them our tools to use, so they'll pay us a license fee. We use our backend to build out what they want. For the platform, what we're looking to do now is the main idea. It's almost like a freemium type model where people buy a digital currency off us, and then they'll spend that on interactivity. So if you're, say, watching a show and you're watching the football and you want to say that someone's your favorite player or someone's done something great, you can write the message, pay, and post, and it'll pop up. Which is, it's a model that's worked really well on Twitch and video games, but still hasn't really moved into sort of the mainstream targets yet. We've got a sort of a fun challenge where, so with the stuff we do on Twitch, it's we're looking at audiences maybe of like 20,000, even like a couple of 100,000 at most. But one of the interesting things we're looking at is when we move into an audience of, say, 1 million or 2 million, if you've got 100 people all happy to pay £30 to have their message show up, how do we sort of regulate that? So it's one of the interesting challenges we're looking at. But all the monetization we're looking to do is based around people paying for interactions. And we have looked at some brand partnerships as well. So one thing I think like pre-roll ads and banner ads do, they sort of don't really fully integrate into the content completely as they should. So, one example we're looking at, if you had a pizza company, before, say, you were going to do a big quiz show or a game show, you could say, right, and before we jump into it, now we're going to do the pizza quiz show, and everyone who gets this right gets a free pizza voucher, and then show like an image of a pepperoni pizza, and everyone has to guess how many pieces of pepperoni on there. So there's more ways. So even though we're looking at interactions, which is probably, we estimate to be about 80% of our revenue, we're looking to 20% to do really sort of cool, sort of brand engaged entertainment, which I think the streamers and the broadcasters enjoy a lot more because it's actually fun and engaging, and also the viewers do as well because they get to win stuff and they get to play along. So in terms of monetization, there are two main points we're looking at, but mostly through the interactions, but also some cool ads integrated stuff, which is what we've spent the last sort of year or so doing.
Cool, thanks for that.
Great, and then we've got one more question from Kat, and just to remind the audience, you can ask questions in the QA box in the platform there. So Kat.
Hi there. Thanks for that. That's fascinating. I can think of a million different deployments and uses for your interactivity. I mean, it must be that a large part of your engagement with brands or streamers must be just kind of crystallizing what they can do. With that thought, what would be a dream deployment for you? Either something that you wish you'd been able to get your hands on that's been out there already, or something that you'd really like to do with a particular show or channel or brand that perhaps hasn't happened yet.
No, definitely. So we're currently on the lookout for sort of our flagship shows that we want to launch with. As the platform's in development, it's one really interesting thing is because we have so many people using QuizKit and making game shows, is that we have really good insight into what works when you have, because we have thousands of these shows going on all the time. It's we're really understanding how to do these crowd dynamics. So when you have 20, 30,000 people playing, And, you know, how do you make it so it's engaged? How do you keep everyone? And for us, that's been a really interesting learning point. And we'd love to, I think when we look to bringing shows to being interactive, it's not about just taking the model as it is and porting it over. There is, you know, it's a completely new format. So, you know, we'd love the opportunity to work with, you know, either any of the big IPs or the big game shows that are going on now and making almost like a spin-off interactive show version of it. I think that's been a really interesting part for us. And yeah, really just looking to pick out the different genres as well. Like, I'm a big reality TV fan as well, so being able to have something there which is more reality focused as well would be great. But yeah, we have. It's interesting because you're right, you're completely right. There's so many different opportunities with it, and that's why we're trying to sort of build out the toolkit to do it, so we can have the opportunity to work on all these shows. But yeah, working with, you know, a good established company or brand that have an existing IP out, which, you know, would be interested in taking it into like an interactive video format would be, yeah, one of our dreams. It's something we are pushing hard for at the moment.
Hopefully somebody's listening out for that today.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Thank you very much. Right, I think that's all the questions we had in. So thanks very much, Tim. And who knew Norwich beat Bayern Munich? That is something I've learned today. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Right, we're going to move on to the next presentation now. So next up, we have got Aki, CEO of StreamHub. Aki, over to you.
Hi, thank you very much. Okay, let me just, oops.
Well, Pieface, good luck.
Yes.
Don't take the loss too hard.
Shall we must beat bait?
Okay, sorry. I think, all right, here we go. Okay, great. Can everyone see the slide now? Is that okay? So, okay. So thanks very much for the introduction and the opportunity to speak here. We are StreamHub, and we provide data solutions to OTT providers around the world. And we will go through the slides and explain how the data today is so fundamental to the survival or to the growth of and the running of online businesses, as we have seen with Google, Facebook, the Amazons of the world, and how the TV industry needs a new transformative sort of data stack to start competing at the same level with these guys in the online world. So first and foremost, who we are. So we have been sort of coined as a specialist providers for audience measurement, segmentation, and monetization for AVOD, SVOD, and live services. So all things that encompass OTT. And we are from a very sort of diverse background of TV, ad tech, and data engineering. And we are headquartered in London with the office in Tokyo as well. And, you know, for example, I come from a Viacom sort of background, you know, sort of mixed in with Skype and Juiced. So a lot of this kind of innovation sort of curve side of things. And then my co-founder comes from Yahoo's big data project, which, you know, has done great things to really pioneer the world of big data. So let's look at the problem that we've been trying to solve in different parts of the world. So the biggest thing is that it's all about this sort of disjointed OTT data that exists, you know, in very different silos, be it, you know, sort of data just for QoS, data just from ad servers, data just from client-side reporting, you know, data from HBB TV sets, and so forth. And, you know, as Jonathan was saying in the first presentation, the world was much simpler in the world of TV, where you just had one data set that created this virtuous loop of, you know, viewing data to analytics and insights, and then sort of, you know, really trying to understand what works best. Now, the world of data today basically, you know, requires you to really work on something very different to the TV world, which is activation. So, and this is what Google and Facebook do best. And so what are the sort of hurdles and barriers to really, you know, sort of leapfrog the OTT sort of BVOD providers to that world? So let's look at the problems in a bit more detail. There are many sort of specialist siloed audience analytics solutions out there doing bits and pieces, but nothing really doing this sort of holistic video OTT experience. And of course, analytics is only part of the picture. As I was saying, data is only meaningful if it can be used for segment building and activation across teams. What I mean by this is, for AdVod, it's very obvious. It's about the sort of advertising, sort of programmatic side of things, ad server sort of activation, segmented targeting. And then if you look at more sort of the SVOD side of things, it's about winbacks, really targeting all the users who just clicked on cancel yesterday and trying to win them back by immediately drawing their profiles of their favorite shows and doing all the targeting. So it's all about activation. So this right now, the disjointed analytics and activation is breaking the loop. And, as a result, it is really not helping the holistic improvement of the audience experience. So what we do need is that we need a unified and flexible and simple data tools to focus on familiar OTT use cases. There are a lot of tools like Google and Adobe, which are made for sort of e-commerce, generalist, user acquisitions, but nothing really focused for OTT and video. So what we've come up with is, first and foremost, a sort of a 360 analytics module that has the capability to work with any data that's related to video. So this can be sort of existing user, tags and log systems that the broadcasters might already have for the OTT. This could be the data that Kantar Media and Bob are collecting on behalf of the broadcasters, or it could be the use of our actual plugins or other analytics providers' raw data that can be shared into our system. And all of this brought together can really create a 360 sort of view of the audience, starting from ads, content, QoS, and audience engagement. Now, what I was mentioning that's important is that the continuity of data needs to be here, from analytics to activation. So we've now created this other piece, to our software, which is all about the discovery and building and ultra segmentation of the audiences, no matter what which department you're in. So if you're in editorial, you would be using this, the same data that's used for reporting and ad sales team is using, but to also cut that data into sort of editorially useful ways. Really like discovering fandoms and so forth. At the same time, ad sales, of course, would use this data to ultra segment for higher yield and CPM valuation increases. And of course, for marketing, for really effective personalized communications. So our analytics sort of module really sort of is about making it easy. And it's one service to really manage the 360 video metrics. It's agnostic to AVOD, SVOD, TVOD, or live. And of course, there's a slate of different platforms that it can work on. And the 4 key metric groups, as I mentioned earlier, is about audience, where we do provide a lot of cohort depth. You can blend in your first-party demographic user registration data to come up with finer reports. And of course, the content and editorial piece, where you're looking at channel level, series level programs, whether it's live, minute by minute, or for VOD. And of course, ads, which is a kind of an interesting area where a lot of ads sort of data is dependent on ad servers, which have known to be not totally accurate all the time. So we can also provide this audit type of service through the QoS audit side of the services here as well. So the key thing here is that it's a single plugin that can track all of this together. Or, of course, if there are already existing solutions and data collected, we can blend that all in together as well. Now, moving on to the activation. We are sort of very much being defined as being kind of the first OTT-focused discovery and targeting platform. And this is because we very much sort of brought the TV DNA and the sort of everyday TV workflow into our activation platform. The kind of data that can be put into activation or for creating any target segments is web player data, app data, HBB TV data, and Bobcat data. So, as the addressable TV starts to gain traction, I think it's ultra important that HBB TV and Bob data combined can really form a very, 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 and when I say Bob, by the way, I mean the OTT dovetail type of data. But it's important that these two combine for very effective sort of campaign deliveries and, improving the user experience as a result. And of course, from the user data side, we're looking at all the first-party registration data, all the device data and contract subscription data they might get from operators, set-top boxes, and so forth. So you can just imagine Activate being this very, very powerful OTT sort of friendly, DMP/CDP that enables the broadcasters to do whatever they want. Okay, then I'm just showing you a very, very sort of simple interface of how a very basic segment might look like, where you're segmenting by different device types and different content owners. And this segment that you create of 953,000 users can easily be used to push into ad servers like SpotX, Freewheel, Google Ad Manager, or to be used into sort of automated marketing campaigns on MailChimp, HubSpot, and so forth. The idea being that all the analytics that's being collected in real time can then be synced into Activate, and you can continually drive or create a data-driven sort of let's say workflow in your organization. So far we've sort of discussed what the person can manually do all the time. And then I'm just bringing you also like a bit of machine learning side things where, I think there's a lot of hype around AI and machine learning. But one of the kind of good applications is to basically kind of do what we call clustering. And sorry, this might be a bit sort of small, and many of the show names are in Japanese, so I apologize for that. But what we're doing here is basically looking at all the different fandoms of users that are across your top 10 shows, and seeing how each of the kind of the fans overlap with other shows in terms of what they like and what they watch. So you see in the orange and red bits are the sort of users of two different shows who really overlap a lot. And then the ones that are in green are those that are not overlapping. So this allows you to, from a very editorial perspective, really understand that you've got very different segments of users who are very interested in certain shows, but not in others, some who are very much across the board watching a lot of things. The same data, of course, can then be used for extending reach in advertising. In case you create a segment, let's say the 950,000 one earlier, and you're missing another 300,000, you can go here and pick another show that you have a certain overlap to get lookalikes. So so the possibilities of using a segment are infinite. I just wanted to sort of now take you through a quick case study, because this system is live now, and we've been very fortunate to be in a good position in Japan, where we have been sort of part of this alliance platform and alliance movement in Japan, where all the broadcasters have come together to try and precisely try to be sort of create an answer to Google and Facebook's dominance. So in Japan, our platform is used across 13 different broadcasters, 4 different third-party platforms, kind of like the equivalent of, let's say, like a Hulu or TV Player or BritBox, and 5 different agencies who all access the same data and who all sort of bring in their own data into Activate to enrich, let's say, the Barb-like data that is used as a currency. So this is the real ultimate kind of flexibility and power that StreamHub is bringing, which is bringing all the analytics capabilities and the data collection capabilities, be it from the customer's own data lakes or our own SDKs, fusing it to the currency panels, and we are very agnostic to panels, Nielsen DAR, GfK panels, Facebook sort of panels and so forth, and then pushing all the data into Activate, where all the broadcasters can bring their first-party data to really enrich the data, but keep it very private at the same time. The same applies for second and third-party data, where then all of this can be used by the agencies for planning and segmenting, and then pushed into SpotX and Freewheel for the ad serving, and really create a virtuous loop of having a single data that's now enriched to be activation ready, and try to really offer the scale and the quality of data that advertisers are looking for. And as a result, there's much less waste, and the users get much more targeted advertisement, which makes the experience much better. So this is very much the gist of how data can really improve when it's a cohesive single system. And the results speak for themselves in terms of massive influx in revenues and both CPMs over the course of a 3-year period, which we've been deployed. And of course, there's a natural organic growth of online, but we have certainly been part of the enhancement of the Japanese broadcasters industry as a whole. So thank you, and of course, we'd really love to build tomorrow's TV together. Thank you.
Thank you, Aki. Very good. We've got one question from the audience, which I got to first.
Yep.
It's from Shirley Maroney from Parkmore Limited. How does GDPR work with this system?
So so there's two things. Everything is consented by the broadcasters. So this is kind of like, sort of similar to a Google Analytics, but for OTT and video. So every single piece of data that we are dealing with has already been consented by the broadcaster or the publisher services for us to deal with the data. Of course, all the data that's then processed and has any PII type of data, such as, let's see, IP address or other things like that, we will mask it and anonymize it for use. So, the GDPR sort of readiness is there. Now, on this, the case study that I've just presented in Japan, the actual data that we're sort of enriching and pushing through the pipe is the Bob dovetail equivalent. So as you know, then in that case, Bob does all the consent taking together with the broadcasters. So everything is consented data, and any of the first-party data that the broadcasters bring in, such as their user registration data, here again is already consented. So everything is very clean, very GDPR ready. And, it's been active since 2018, early 2018. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And then we got a question from one of our judges, Kat.
Thank you, Aki. That's absolutely fascinating. And as somebody who's worked in this space, I totally get the need and the opportunity to bring all those data sources together. So I can imagine that I've got a question in two parts, really. I can obviously broadcasters at the moment are trying to bring disparate data sets together and using their data sciences or off-the-shelf tools to interrogate those. How is your platform making that faster and swifter and easier to bring those disparate data sets together for individuals within companies, is part A. And then part B, which particular sets of data have you been most interested in seeing cross-fertilized, so which have been the most powerful combinations of data which are usually separate that have been brought to bear in your experience with the Japanese market?
Okay, yes. So part A, so a lot of our customers already have a setup, and they're quite advanced in their engineering. So they have AWS as their foundation or Google Cloud Services as their foundation. Now, as you know, those services are very generic, and they don't have this sort of cut which fuses all the metadata about the programs, the advertising, the user information all into one. And that's where we basically come in, and we really harmonize all the data, make it very, very easy for the user to just kind of come in, because all the synchronization of the data is automated. So if you have like a data scientist who is looking to sort of create or discover some new patterns, they could, instead of going to this completely raw data that is, that's got billions of data points and very difficult to sort of navigate through, StreamHub comes in, cleans it all up, automates it, and makes it readily available for use by data scientists, the ad sales manager, or even, or the marketers who need it. So I think one of the big things is that the user friendliness that it brings, and the contextual sort of cleansing and UI that's built around it has brought a lot of advantages. Kind of in the same way that, sort of Tableau is now trying to create very different verticals in terms of their UI, because, everything, there's no such thing as one size fits all in big data and analytics, and especially for OTT, it's got to really have this TV angle. And then to your second question, the biggest strength has actually been in the most simplest areas, which is, as I said, in Japan, the bar equivalent data was very, very simple, and it was being joined against the bar panel, should we say. And that, as you know, cannot be used for activation, because you're looking at a sample of 3,000 users, which then they try to interpolate it as being the 20 million users who are using the service. So that just doesn't work. So the biggest sort of feat for the broadcasters was that they were able to get this currency data that's accepted as the standard of reporting and planning, and bringing their first-party user registration data and binding it together through device IDs and cookie syncing, which then becomes very, very powerful, because you've got the reporting being done and the activation being done all in one standard. So that's been kind of exciting. And this initially began with just one or two broadcasters, and then they sort of started to grow, and everyone just said, hey, let's just bring it all together. So that's been kind of a really fun process to be part of, and really quite innovative as well. So
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Game changing.
Cheers for the question, Kat. Okay, so unfortunately we're out of time for any further questions. I'm afraid we've got to move on to the next presentation. But Aki, thank you very much. And I'm sure there's an infinite number of users for more kind of segmented user data that you presented there. So thanks very much. Okay, so next up we've got Guy, who's the CEO of Charisma. Guy, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Charisma. Thank you very much for having us on the panel today. So let me just get my first slide up. So Charisma AI transforms television because it allows audiences to become part of the dramas that we all love, talking to the characters rather than just watching them. This is one such AI character created for the interactive version of the TV series.
I may be an AI character, but I am also angry and impatient.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm trying to introduce you, not insult you. As you can see, the characters in the show talk to you, and you can talk back to them as well. What you say influences their mood, and this influences then the whole story that they experience. So these are the 7 key reasons why we're unique in the media industry right now. Firstly, as I said, we're completely breaking down that fourth wall, and audiences are able to talk directly to characters. This is new and using natural language. Secondly, audiences are inside the story and not just controlling it. This is a difference away from, say, something like Netflix's Bandersnatch, which use yes/no button presses, to actually being inside the story, able to control it and feel that you're part of what's going on. Our AI is natural language processing. That's the segment that we've deployed into the platform, and that allows the script, the story itself, to respond to what the players and the viewers are saying, and that in turn creates a dynamic and adaptive story. For us, that sets the new standard in interactive storytelling. Again, previously, without the involvement of natural language processing, without this sort of AI, and especially without the considerations for creative storytelling, interactive storytelling has been a bit static, branching narrative. But what we've found is that it's now much more fluid, and that's what we're aiming to do with Charisma, is bring a little bit of charisma to the characters. To top it all off, as the cherry on the cake, we use synthetic actor voice generation. That means if we have a show with Brad Pitt in it, then we will bring him into an audio studio, capture his voice, and then the voice that the audience hears is going to be his voice dynamically generated, again, powered by AI. And for the Sky project that I mentioned, and you saw Marcus there, who was the main character in Bulletproof, that was a world first use of AI in television entertainment. Now, going under the hood a little bit about how this all works, it's key that this is about character and story and emotion. Character, this is not about building Alexa. Call center characters tend to be vanilla, and quite naturally so with the technology. Whereas actually the characters we're trying to create are more like Darth Vader or Hannibal Lecter, and you don't want those Hannibal Lecter or Darth Vader answering your call center calls when you're getting through to them. So we want strong characters. Secondly, we want chatbots simply don't have stories, and that's complex to do. What chatbots exist to do is to answer a question and answer very quickly and get you in and out. So if you're looking at something like Siri, again, that's a search engine, in and out as fast as possible. If it's Alexa, it's to take you to a point of retail as quickly as possible. That's not how the entire entertainment industry and television industry works. We exist to keep people watching shows for longer and to make them entertaining. And then thirdly, that point about emotion is it's not just a narrative journey that we're creating. It's good to have the stories, but any good story, whether it's Indiana Jones or a soap opera, is an emotional journey. And we need to bring that to life and have our characters have moods and feelings that adapt over the course of the story, as Marcus did in the original demo that I showed you. And this really plays to dive into that a touch further with drama versus chat. So the key difference, I suppose, that was always our vision is that the system and Charisma AI needs to have drama built in from the core. It needs to understand the creative process of making TV, because if we do that, then we're going to build our technology in a certain direction. If we build our technology to be a short form Q&A, then it will naturally evolve in that. But in this slide, using the soap opera EastEnders as an example, if I walk into the Queen Vic pub here in EastEnders and I talk to the characters, I don't want to have a conversation with them that is merely, what's your backstory, how are you, and simple things. I want to walk into a drama. I want to walk in and into the pub and as a viewer, as a TV viewer, feel that what I say matters to the story. And I have agency and can create a new drama out of it. So that's what we've built. And underpinning all of that really are two key pieces of technology, immersion and our natural language processing that I talked about with the AI. Immersion comes in many flavors. Mostly people associate it with VR and so forth. But if you've seen the movie The Game with Michael Douglas, spoiler alert, that a single text message can make someone jump off a building, and that really is around good writing, and it's the ability to get stories out really clearly. So the interface that we have on screen there which is our Charisma interface, is easy to use. We've run writers' rooms with the BBC, with Sky, with Story Futures in the UK. We're expanding that out into the US, so that people can start to create their own stories and the new forms of television entertainment simply and easily. So this is how we make a production. First off, we write it. That's natural. We work very closely with all of the TV production partners and broadcasters that we do. So with Sky, that was with Vertigo Films in the UK, and Sky Drama and Sky Studios themselves. And that really is to combine the values, the quality, and that dollars on screen that you'd expect from a really good show, with the innovation that we bring to it, and we will write that. Secondly, we shoot with the stars here with the stars from Bulletproof. So we'll go in and do a very quick, short, sharp section, and that sort of brings to life the interactive piece when we've got the stars on it. But then key after that, we'll do the interactive shoot. And this is the piece where the what we video shoot is reused, is optimized. It's helped train the model that we have in Charisma, and is content that's specifically developed for us. And then finally, of course, we stitch the whole thing together, and that's where Charisma comes in. And that's stitched together as a digital product. Now, the digital product itself starts to get interesting because our vision is this, where that digital product can be someone sitting in a sofa talking to their TV, and their TV talks back to them. It can be someone talking to their, seeing the show on their tablet, on their mobile phone, and experiencing that. It can be via web, or it could be via their Xbox and PlayStation. For us, it doesn't matter. We power all of those and are compatible with all of those. And the goal really in all of this is that we are looking for a world which mirrors the SVOD experience that everyone's becoming used to, where content is delivered on multiple devices. What we're looking for is where the characters from those shows can be interacted with on those devices, on TVs, mobiles, tablets, and consoles. And all of that brings us closer to the stories that we love, closer to the characters, and allows audiences to become properly immersed in the TV experience itself. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Guy. Yeah, we do have a question. We've got one from Yvonne. Yvonne.
Yeah, thank you very much, Guy. Interesting product, really. So I was thinking if I would be one of the audience, how could I interact if I'm probably watching with my family or with friends, just in front of the screen? Is the character really reacting to several of us, or how does the interaction work? And what's actually the limit of the storytelling? How far can the individual story go?
The answer to the first question is it depends on which interface we use. So much in the same way you might have, I don't know, access to, like we were using last night, Amazon Fire Stick, right? So if I want to use the voice on the Amazon Fire Stick, I have the Amazon remote. Now that's with a group of sort of 7 or 8 people in the room, and it's one person who's got that particular device at that time. And naturally, if you hold down the mic at that time and everyone's talking, there's going to be confusion. But again, we're sort of starting to get, I think, as audiences and as consumers, we're starting to get accustomed to how these voice interfaces work, often driven by products like Alexa. I mean, without a doubt, whether you like it or not, Alexa has changed the way that we behave with voice-activated experiences. So I think we're coming in off the back of a really accelerating wave in these sorts of voice-activated devices and that sort of behavior. In terms of your second question around how far it can go, we like to think that what we are doing is putting the power into the hands of the writers. And in that sense, in a wonderful way, we've sort of lost control of that already, as we should. So in other words, if you're writing a book, writing a novel, and you write it in Microsoft Word, Microsoft, don't have control over what novel you're writing. Similarly, if you're writing a script and you're using Final Draft as a script writing tool, Final Draft doesn't care which way you're going. What you want is people to push the story itself, and that's very much the angle that we've taken. So from a technology perspective, the end product could be in VR. It could be fully immersive. We can tap into games engines, and that opens up a whole new realm. Our sort of point here is to build the foundation stones, which we've done for broadcasters and for production companies, to rethink the way that they craft TV shows with this level of immersion put into the system, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Right, we're at time now for the audience votes, actually. So yeah, Guy, so looks like we're going to have to all get creative now when we're watching TV from now on out. So moving on to the audience vote. So you've all been given £1,000 of virtual money. And you've heard all the presentations now from today. So we'd like to know who you're backing. You can see the options there on the screen. So you've got a minute now if you just want to vote on screen. And then your results from this are going to be combined with the judges' deliberations to form the winning company. So off you go. And just while we're waiting for that, I just want to say big thanks again to all our presenters and to our judges as well, who are Charles, Kat, Xavier and Yvonne, and our presenters who are Jonathan, Tim, Aki and Guy for your innovative solutions. So our judges are going to be heading off in a minute to work out who they're going to vote for as their winner. So that's going to be a very, very difficult job, I would imagine. And then we'll come back and hear who the winner's going to be. I think, have we finished the online vote? Let's give you a couple more seconds. Right. I think we've got all the answers in. Perfect. Okay, so thanks for all of those who voted. You'll be able to see the results shortly. The judges now are going to go away and deliberate on their favourites. And whilst we're waiting for them to do that, we've got a special guest joining us, who's Graham Lovelace, who is producer of this year's DTG Summit. Graham, over to you. Great. Well, that was a little promo for the DTG Future Summit. Graham, I hope you can hear me. Could you tell us a little bit about this year's event, Future Vision 2020? Have we got Graham? Looks like we're missing Graham. Graham, can you hear me? So I'm just hearing here Graham is struggling to get it. So, right, well, what we'll do is then I'll have a quick run through the presentation here and try and give you a bit of an explanation of what's going on this year's DTG Summit. So, and I'll just make the presentation a bit bigger so I can see that. Perfect. So as you can see there, we've got a headline list of names attending this year. And what we're looking at is key innovations that are transforming television. It's called Future Vision, obviously playing on the fact it's 2020 and 2020 vision. I'm sure I don't need to explain that to you. And we're considering the future of television, hence the summit's title, Future Vision. There are three big differences to this year's summit. First, as you can imagine, it's virtual, as a lot of the summits are this year. So though the event will be anchored from a live TV studio here in London, and our host is going to be broadcaster and journalist Andrea Cathwood, who I'm sure you've heard of, see on the screen there, who's presenter of BBC 4's BBC Radio 4, sorry, the media show. Being virtual, it gives us the opportunity to make this year's event truly international, with speakers and attendees joining us from around the world. The other great strength of going virtual is the degree of interactivity we can provide. The event is being streamed via a software platform provided by Streamco, which provides live chat so you can comment on what you're seeing and the opportunity to submit questions for the audience Q&A. It also allows attendees to chat directly with our event partners in the exhibition hall, where all the virtual exhibitor stands will be located. I see we've got Graham back online now. Graham, can you hear me?
Fantastic. You can hear me now, Alex, can you?
We can hear you, yeah, I can hear you fine. I don't know whether else can hear you.
Sorry about that. It's good old refreshing the screen. Fantastic. Great to be with you, Alex, and good luck to all the other transformers. It's brilliant to be with you. I think you started to give us a feel for what the DTG Summit could be like this year, but let me just fill in a few gaps. This is the 25th anniversary year of the DTG this year, and as with all significant birthdays, it's a great opportunity to both take stock and also look forward. So we're looking at all of the current key developments and innovations that are transforming television right now, but we're also looking forward potentially to the next decade at all the things that are likely to shape our industry, hence the name Future Vision. So we're looking at a vision for the future of television. Now, this year's summit is going to be very different. You alluded to some of the key features just then, Alex, but just let me run through some of the others. Yes, of course, it's going to be virtual, no surprises there, though the event will be hosted in a live TV studio in central London. Our host for the event is the broadcaster and journalist Andrea Catherwood, who's also the presenter of BBC Radio 4's The Media Show. Now, going virtual gives us a fantastic opportunity for the first time with the DTG Summit to be truly international. So both speakers can join us from around the world, and also attendees can join us wherever they are. The other great event of being virtual is the degree of interactivity that we can offer attendees, both through networking tools, live chat, submitting questions for Q&A, as you can on this platform as well, of course. But the platform we're using for the summit is provided by an organization called StreamGo. It's a state-of-the-art streaming platform, and it also allows us to offer live chat between attendees and event partners in an exhibition hall. So all of our key event partners will have virtual stands, and you'll be able to actually have a live dialogue with those organizations through live one-to-one chat through the platform. So lots of really, really important differences in terms of the events this year, and it really should feel like you're attending an event, an immersive digital event.
Thanks, Graham. And could you go into maybe a bit more detail about the programme as well, please?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. We have an absolutely stellar lineup of speakers for everyone this year. I think we may have a slide of some of them which we can show on screen shortly. We have people from all over the industry, from every part. We've got broadcasters, we've got key technologists, we've got people that are steeped in the cutting edge of innovation within the industry. But we're looking at everything from changes in TV consumption, soaring SVOD viewing, which we've seen obviously in recent months during lockdown. We're also looking at the soaring use of streaming services and innovation in sports production and fan engagement, plus all the latest advances in sound and vision and content discovery, as well as the impact of algorithms, which of course have been very much in the news recently, as well as how we might go about measuring television's environmental impact. Very important presentation there from Jigna from BBC R&D. Plus, we're looking at all the vulnerabilities of the smart home and how hackers are actually exploiting those vulnerabilities. Our feature session this year looks at the impact of television on our culture, our politics, and our society. We're doing that with the TV historian Dan Snow, who's also the co-founder of a highly successful SVOD service called History Hit TV. And Dan will give us his personal take on TV's evolution, as well as explaining how he put together all the key building blocks of History Hit TV. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating presentation. Our international keynote at the end of the day considers what a television service might look and sound like in a decade's time, and how it might actually be delivered as well. We're doing that with a star cast of international speakers who will consider the business, regulatory, as well as the technological challenges ahead. So plenty to look forward to across the day, plus a bit of fun. And there's going to be a prize competition. So no spoilers, but I'm told that the prizes are incredible. So stay tuned.
Perfect. What's going on then? And how do you register for the event?
Well, you register the event by simply going to dtgsummit.com, but that very handily, the guys at DTG have actually put a link on the interface that you're looking at now. So just click on that and register. The summit is on Wednesday, the 7th of October. If you miss a session or you want to go back over something in much, much greater detail, don't worry. Everything is recorded and everything will be instantly available through the platform.
Perfect. Sounds all straightforward enough. Yeah, as we've seen, I mean, this seems to be like the way events are headed these days, virtual platforms. So, yeah, how is this kind of, relate to perhaps the way events are heading with the kind of new environment we're in today?
Indeed, this is the way that events are heading, Alex, and as all live event producers, I've also had to pivot to digital over recent months, learning everything about these new platforms, the platform that we're using here today, On24, StreamGo, the platform we'll be using for the Digital TV Summit. Over the past few months, I've actually looked at 30 platforms in great detail. There's a lot out there. There's lots of different ways of distributing your content. What's been absolutely amazing, though, is the way that a number of leading organizations have actually embraced the opportunities of virtual events, and they are considerable when we even compare them with in-person events that we used to do in the old world. And here I really do take my hat off to the DTG in the way that, as an organization, it too has both informed members, but also involved them through these regular webinars as well. There's a new form of communication which is developing between organizations, both commercial organizations and those such as membership bodies, such as the DTG as well. The pandemic has forced everybody to both think and act very differently and consider what life might be like in what we're calling the new normal, or when there is eventually a vaccine or cure. I firmly predict that all events in the future, even when we do return to something like normality, will still have this very strong digital immersive experience running alongside an in-person event, because the advantages of digital platforms are so great. This opportunity to get global scale, global reach, all the interactive elements I mentioned just before, a live exhibition with limitless number of partners exhibiting in a virtual exhibit hall. You're not limited by space anymore. But fundamentally as well, all the international speakers we have on our program for the summit, in the old days, I would be flying all of those speakers in at considerable cost. I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, like you said, fundamental changes there, and but also many opportunities. And sounds like it's going to be a great event. Thanks very much for running us through it, Graham. And as Graham said, you can register there on the platform. So please go ahead, and we hope to see you there. Thank you, Graham.
Thanks, Alex, and sorry about the delay.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Okay, so I think we're ready to go to the winners. So just a recap of the entrants we had. You should be able to see the 8 finalists there on the screen. We had speakers from yesterday, which were Spicy Mango with their device management platform. We had Filmily with the kind of user experience for stadiums application. We had Scenic with a kind of collaborative way of viewing content. And we had Screen Hits TV as well. And then today we heard from StreamHub, Charisma, TVA, and Codices. So I've just been informed we've got the winners in. So in third place, we have, minutes pause there. In third place, we have Scenic. Congratulations to Scenic. So, Paul, do we have Paul available for comment there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Alex. How are you doing?
How are you doing? Yeah, good to see you back. Yeah, congratulations. So that's very well done. Great presentation yesterday and a great application. If you want to, have you got any kind of comments on your third place win there?
Well, I'm not going to change into a transformer. I don't have those metal parts built in, but yeah, super happy to be amongst like companies who are driving change. So thank you for the space and everyone that voted, and hopefully we'll be watching together with you guys soon.
Perfect, thank you, Paul. And yeah, just coming from the judges there, what made Scenic stand out?
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations. Obviously we took into account also the audience votes. I don't know what their motivation was, certainly, but we definitely agreed that it was a very outstanding idea, and thought that this, yeah, let's say that the feeling of the co-viewing, actually, the idea of it is brilliant behind, and we are really feeling it's being implemented already, and you've done some great work to prove that it can work and scale as well. So this was really a concept that we thought it was very engaging and has a good future.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And well done to Scenic. And so moving on. So second place, we have Screen Hits. Well done, Screen Hits. So that was the aggregator of content and providing kind of trends across different platforms. So we've got Rose here today. Rose, can you hear me? Not sure if Rose is able to join in. So yeah, congratulations to Screen Hits. So Rose.
Hi, sorry. Yes, I can hear you. I'm actually speaking at another conference, so I stepped out to call in really quick. But they're about to ask me another question, so I do have to go back. But I'm really excited. That's wonderful news.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations. And yeah, great presentation yesterday. And Yvonne, so what stood out for you for Screen Hits?
Yeah, also from our side, congratulations, Rose. So we really thought you're solving the problem that everybody's talking about. This kind of being a super aggregator is, I think, something everybody's looking for. And you seem to have found a solution. So that's absolutely brilliant. And we look forward to hearing more about it.
Great, well done. Okay, now moving on to the first winner of DTG TV Transformers, and we'll be winning 12 months of DTG member benefits as well as a booth at this year's DTG Summit. And the winner of that is Codices. Well done, Codices. Tim, are you there?
Yes, no, awesome. Thank you, Alex. That's really, really good news.
Great, well done. And yeah, fantastic presentation again. And it was great to see some examples of it in practice as well. And looked like a really, really engaging way of bringing in the audience and content and making it an interactive experience for the viewers. Yvonne, have you got any comments on why you picked Codices as the winner?
Yeah, also congratulations again. So definitely deserved. I hope that also from the audience we will get some feedback why they chose you to be the most innovative idea. So we from the judges definitely thought that you're going into this interactive viewing experience, and that's a great achievement. And I think the idea is solving a problem that many people are looking for and talking about. And we also thought your presentation was very engaging and very, very modern looking. And so, yeah, we thought it's something that we think we will hear more about, and people will be looking forward to learn more about as well. Congratulations again.
Well done, Tim. Well done. And actually, we've got a question in from the audience for the winner. Yeah. I'm not putting you on the spot too much, Tim, but Nigel Pranicott has asked, how are you going to be using your DTG membership to bring your technology to transform the system you're using to the next level?
I think for us really, it's like so we've been working on Codices now for just over 2 or 3 years, and we launched our first version of our product about a year ago. So I think we're at a really good stage now where we're particularly with the partners and the shows we're working with, we're getting into that a lot more mature stage from from previously being quite a new startup. So yeah, really looking forward to sort of engaging, particularly with the events, and just getting to have a lot more introductions to a lot more of the sort of traditional TV space as well, where I guess we're coming from a more sort of Twitch background as well. So yeah, I mean, because I think in the long term, as everything goes sort of more interactive, that's really what we're focused on in terms of content and tech to be sort of at the forefront of. So yeah, really happy that we'll be able to speak to lots of the members and hopefully create some new opportunities for everyone through it.
Brilliant, yeah, exactly, yeah. And the summit's going to be a great opportunity to, like you said, reach out to many different companies and also kind of converge that world between the kind of traditional broadcast and the new kind of online world as well. So, with TV viewing in that way a lot. So brilliantly paged, very well done, and many congratulations, and we'll see you at the summit. So
no, definitely.
That's it. Yeah, sorry, Tim, thank you. And congratulations to all of the speakers for getting to the final. We had a lot of very interesting pictures there. Hopefully through this process, you managed to make some new contacts and broaden your network. And hopefully we'll see you at the summit, like we said. So with that, thank you to the judges, thank you to the presenters, thank you for all of you who attended our TV Transformers showcase. And we'll hopefully see you at the next one. Very well done, and bye for now.